Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hump day. So once again at 2:30 this afternoon Pacific time, Arizona time, the court will continue the no bond hearing for Lane Myers. I anticipate the court will grant him a bond, some sort of bond conditions. I anticipate the court will. I would not be shocked if the court didn't, but I anticipate the court will. Again, you have a constitutional right to bond, and in order to prevent you from getting bond, the state has to show that either you're likely to run or you're likely to harm the community in some form or fashion. So worse people than Lane Myers, people who've done worse things than Lane Meyer is accused of doing, have been given bond. So I anticipate he will, but who knows? I mean, who knows what antics he's going to pull today at the no bond hearing. So, I mean, it could just go all pear-shaped, and we'll have to see. One issue that people have been saying in my comment section was that all of this started, and I doubt all of this started from this, because I'm sure that Lane has had a history of issues far into the past, but they say that this particular thing started when Lane Myers booed in a city hall meeting and was kicked out and then trespassed or something along those lines. And the general feeling from Lane Myers supporters is that that's bullshit. You can't get kicked out of a city hall meeting for booing. And I've been down this road enough times that I'm just going to go ahead and say you probably can. Can you get trespassed for it? Well, then it gets a little stickier, because then that is a prohibition against future speech, and it's a different. You switch from the rational basis review, a limited public forum analysis, to strict scrutiny. So it's you probably can't get trespassed, at least not without some extra workarounds to allow you to speak at these particular town hall meetings in some form or fashion. I mean, if they allow people to appear remotely to speak, that might get around it or whatever, but they can definitely kick you out for booing. And the analysis is pretty simple. The legitimate government concern is to maintain decorum at these things. They can't have them drag on forever. And so they can limit your speech. Well, so your speech is limited. I mean, it's a limited public forum. But the legitimate government concern is to maintain the decorum and to keep time limits down and things like that. The restriction against booing and cheering and things like that is rationally related to achieving it. I mean, it doesn't have to be narrowly tailored or anything like that. And it has to make sense in light of the use of the forum. And I think it does. It's held up time and time again. This is not new, novel, not complex, not anything like that. This has happened a bunch of times. A lot of people get upset about what their city hall does, what their county council meetings. People get upset all the time. It is a limited public forum. Almost certainly it's a limited public forum, and almost certainly the particular regulations are going to get upheld as being constitutional for that particular forum. So there you go. I mean, you might not like it. You might think that he should get to boo all he wants, but that's not the way the world works. So sorry, not sorry. And then one other thing that I wanted to address in this particular video was Lane Myers' kind of particular focus on state actor. And I got a few things to say about that. First of all, 42 U.S.C. 1983 does not require a state actor. Nowhere in that does it require a state actor. It requires someone to be acting under the color of state law. Acting under the color of state law. It does not require it to be a state actor. In fact, there was a Supreme Court case and I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was like some oil company that had a creditor that used the state credit or the state judgment enforcement claims or whatever to enforce its creditor's claim or something like that. I don't remember exactly the details of it, but it was a non-state actor. It was private citizens. If they are acting under the color of state law, can be sued under 42 U.S.C. 1983. It does not require a state actor, nor does it define what a state actor is, because it doesn't require a state actor. So there's no definition there. So when Lane Myers is telling you that whatever the alleged victim's name is a state actor for the purposes of 42 U.S.C. 1983, I'm going to press X to doubt, because she has not used any of her powers under the state to enforce it. And you could, in theory, attempt to sue for the injunction, but I believe before the federal courts are going to deal with that, there are certain issues that he'll have to resolve, i.e., he's going to have to raise the issue that it's unconstitutional at the state court level in his appeal, which I'm told he's appealing the injunction, the civil harassment injunction, the injunction against civil harassment, whatever they call it in Arizona. So he's going to have to finish that kind of stuff up. And if he can convince the state that it is unconstitutional, then he's going to have a potential 42 U.S.C. 1983, because she used state laws to deprive him of rights, allegedly. I'm not suggesting at all that she has. And think about this for a minute. Lane has cast aspersions at various people, not just her. He's done it at her husband, who's a prosecutor. But he's cast it at the prosecutor for doing his job as a prosecutor in a way that Lane doesn't like, which would explain why no action has been taken by the prosecutor to get a restraining order by the alleged victim's husband, right? He's cast these aspersions at the new prosecutor, who also has not sought a restraining order. He's cast these aspersions at judges, who I think one may have sought a restraining order, but generally speaking, they have not been doing it. And that's because they, as public officials who are doing their jobs, you've got a lot more room to criticize an actual public official doing their job and how they do their job. What I think Lane Myers is missing is that, is she a public employee, the alleged victim? Yes. Is his criticism of her how she's doing her job? No. Is she a public official? Probably not. Is she a state actor for SLAPP? Probably not. Because, first of all, she's not bringing it. The prosecutor is. So a anti-SLAPP motion saying that the prosecutor is bringing a motion as the state bringing a motion, sure, that makes sense. Is a SLAPP motion, which I think it would be untimely in the injunction for civil harassment restraining order, would that be against her as a state actor? No, because she's bringing it in a private capacity. The SLAPP motion requires the state actor, if an employee can be a state actor, a state employee can be a state actor as long as they're acting in their official capacity. So for where that would apply would be like if you had an issue with like the governor, like you were protesting the governor or whatever, and because you were protesting the governor, they denied your or they brought a motion to foreclose on something or whatever. They brought a motion, and you could say, well, actually, no, even though the governor is bringing this lawsuit or whatever against me, I could file my SLAPP motion because it's a government, it's the state, it's a state employee, the governor, who's bringing this motion. But she's bringing it in her official capacity. If for example, the governor had a contract with you to like loan you money or something like that, and they sued you for breach of contract for failing to repay the loan, your anti-SLAPP thing probably wouldn't work because the governor isn't bringing that in her official capacity as the governor. She's bringing that in her private capacity as the lender and a contracting party. Or, for example, like if your neighbor, for either 42 U.S.C. or a SLAPP motion, if your neighbor is, for example, a sheriff's deputy. Now, a sheriff's deputy is a public official, just a public official. They have discretionary authority to do things that are going to affect people. They're a public official. Let's say he's your neighbor. Let's say you invite him over to your house for a pool party, and he gets drunk, and he takes a shit in your pool. He's not acting under color of state law. He's not a state actor for that purpose. He's a private actor. Could you sue him for taking a shit in your pool? Sure. Would you be able to sue him under 42 U.S.C. 1983 because he's a sheriff's deputy? No. Could you file it? Yes. Would you prevail? No, because he wasn't acting under color of state law when he took a shit in your pool. Now let's switch it around. Let's say that your neighbor is a sheriff's deputy and he invites you over to his house for a swimming party, and you go over there and you get drunk and you take a shit in his pool, and he sues you for taking a shit in his pool. Well, could you file a SLAPP motion? Because you're going to say that actually that was free speech. It was a commentary on how I think he's a dirty pig, and so I was turning his by defecating into his pool, I was turning it into a wallow for the little piggy to wallow in. And he's bringing this lawsuit against me, and he's a sheriff's deputy, so he's a state actor. Well, no, because he's not bringing that lawsuit against you in his official capacity as a sheriff's deputy. He's bringing that lawsuit against you as a homeowner who's upset that you took a shit in his pool. Does that make sense? Like, so I'm hoping that maybe the Lane Myers sycophants who watch my channel and who leave lots of comments, so thank you for tickling the algorithm. I'm not monetized, so you're not really driving money my way, but hey, I appreciate the attempts at making me laugh and things like that. But I'm hoping you guys can maybe figure out that, like, I'm just telling you what the law is. I understand you guys don't like it. I understand you don't like it, but this is the state of the law. Like, the state of the law doesn't care about the underlying charge that the prosecutor did when it's looking at why are you harassing this gal? Oh, because she's married to the prosecutor. Well, the state doesn't care about that. The courts don't care about that. The law doesn't care about that. You can't just harass someone because her husband did something you don't like. I mean, it doesn't work that way. That's not the way society operates. You might notice that besides Lane, most people aren't doing this. I'm sure that prosecutor deals with lots and lots of defendants every day, potential criminals every day. And most of them don't harass his wife. I mean, posit that for a minute. Think about it for a minute. And finally, I know this is a bit of a rambling video, but finally, let's talk about Lane Myers' girlfriend/wife, whatever you want to call her. The allegation that the alleged victim got Lane Myers' wife/girlfriend fired from her job as a federal law clerk. Can't happen, doesn't happen. You get fired. I have done a number of wrongful termination cases. I have a wrongful termination case that I currently have ongoing. There's a lawsuit filed for a current wrongful termination case right now that I'm the lead attorney on. It's my client, right? So I know a little bit what I'm talking about here. You don't just get fired for nothing. You don't just get fired because someone says, I don't like this person. If she got fired, or if she resigned in lieu of getting fired, which means that she agrees that they had grounds to terminate her, ask yourself how this could be at all associated with the alleged victim. Because the girlfriend/wife of Lane Myers doesn't have Lane Meyer's last name. So how would her employer know who her husband/boyfriend is, or what her husband/boyfriend is going on about? To the best of my knowledge, there's been no allegations that Lane Myers has even appeared in front of this federal judge. So again, how does this federal judge know? And what is giving this federal judge grounds to fire her law clerk? I mean, just pause it to think about that for a minute. You don't get fired for nothing. You don't get fired because someone doesn't like you. And if you do get fired because someone doesn't like you, then you sue for wrongful termination. If like there are protections in place for things like this. Federal employees don't just get fired for no cause. They don't. So really think about this. If she got fired for anything at all related to the alleged victim, you have to ask yourself, how did the judge know about the alleged victim? How did the judge know that this gal was married to or girlfriend of Lane Meyer? And what impact was it having on this gal's job to the point where the judge felt justified in firing him? If you watch these judges, most judges don't tend to make snap decisions. Most judges think about what they're doing before they do it. Most judges give a lot of leeway before they punish. I mean, look at the way the judges have responded to Lane Myers. They've given him a lot of rope to hang himself with. So ask yourself, why was Lane's girlfriend/wife getting fired? What grounds were there? None of this makes sense. I get your whole the whole world is a giant conspiracy theory to fuck over Lane Myers. Well, let me rebut that with Lane Myers is a giant conspiracy theory to fuck up Lane Myers. Everything Lane Myers is going through right now, Lane Myers caused. So, really that. I don't want the man to be in prison, but he's doing it to himself. I mean, he is pushing down that road as hard as he can. It's not me wanting it, it's what he's doing. His actions are going to cause consequences. He's done the fuck around. He's gonna do the find out. And I have nothing to do with it. Don't blame me. The alleged victim doesn't have anything to do with it. Don't blame her. Blame Lane Myers. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.